Good evening, Omegans. I hope everybody can hear me. Anurag, can you hear me? You're the only one I can see for a visual signal.
Yes, I can hear you, Gopi.
Awesome, awesome. Good evening. Good morning to some of you as well. A few of you that are on the state side. Um, Again, for those of you that don't know me, Gopi Natarajan, co-founder CEO of Omega Healthcare. It's great to be here this morning to connect with you all. I'm glad that we're finding new technologies to communicate, connect with everybody. Really happy to do this, and I wish I could see all of you. There's a certain charm that I've always seen in the last 17 years of Omega, being employees and seeing all of you live, looking at your eyes and the enthusiasm and all that, and getting energized by it. Right, that's what drove both Anurag and I every single day, looking at all of you and the kind of dedication and whatnot that all of you had have towards Omega, and what you've all done, right? Again, thanks for assembling here. For those of you that are here, and the first thing that I want to say is again, I'm very happy to report that so far, and let's really hope and pray that it stays that way, that none of the Omegans or their families have been affected as far as we've been reported to by this COVID-19 situation. We know that millions of people have been affected and whatnot throughout the world, and so many people have died and all that. But it's really not hit the Omega family, which is a stellar achievement. It talks volumes about all of you being so responsible and whatnot, and also from a company perspective. We've taken equal responsibility to make sure that the health of all of you are of prime importance to us, right? So again, let's really hope that it stays that way, and that this goes everywhere in our U.S., India, and Philippine operations, right? That we've had a stellar record so far. So a lot has changed. Personally for me, it was weird because I was in India on March 6th or 7th, something like that, and I was contemplating coming back a little bit later. And then something suddenly told me to just, advance my trip. And one fine evening, I just advanced my trip, left in a few hours, and hurried and came here. Thought that things would be normal here. We could continue business development here and whatnot. And because things seem to be under control, and that was barely about a month back, right? And lo and behold, hindsight's always 2020. I wish I had stayed there in India. It's a relatively, I guess, a safer place right now, given where all the numbers are worldwide and in the U.S. It's obviously, I'm sure you guys have seen that the numbers in the U.S. don't look all that great. I think, unfortunately, it's tough to speculate now what we could have done, what we couldn't have done, and whatnot. Nevertheless, here's where we are. We are, we're in bad state in a few of our states, and a lot of our friends, family, whatnot, employees live in these sort of highly affected states and whatnot. But everybody stayed safe. That's a good thing. The good news, obviously, I'm sure you guys are bombarded with all kinds of news every single day and whatnot. I think the good news is, India's managed to stay quite ahead of the curve, I think, at least given all the reports that have come in. They enforced the lockdown at the right time. I know it's been incredibly tough for a lot of people, for everyone, the entire population. It's been tough, up and down, for employers, employees, everybody, right? Workers and whatnot. It's been really tough. The quick clampdown. I think the right thing to do is, look, we cannot question how anybody reacts in this situation, right? whether it's the government or the employers,
Has joined.
for everybody. For everybody, this is a brand new thing, right? It completely caught us off guard. At Omega, we had our yearly strategic planning meeting just a little over a month ago, the first week of March, and we had, lofty plans. We had all kinds of plans. We were on such a fantastic trajectory, and talking about different things, right? And little did we know that our entire business model would change. I mean, the whole concept of work from home, as most of you know, that you've come into all the Omega facilities, how crazy we are sometimes, right, about security and compliance, and how people have to do this and that, and we go through extensive measures to ensure data privacy and everything else, right, from a compliance standpoint, security and all that. And it's funny how an invisible thing like this virus, powerful but invisible, thing has changed a lot of those dynamics, right? In terms of nobody even contemplated. Anurag and I have been in this business almost 20 years now, and nobody even, encouraged, contemplated anything, right? You couldn't even talk about work from home and all that. It was not even a topic of conversation, and here we are, quickly within 3 weeks, right? I'm really proud to report, because of a lot of tremendous efforts from the India team, Philippines team, and the US team, giving our 2 cents and sitting 10,000 miles away, a lot of times feeling helpless about, how do we help the situation, and we tried our best, but I think the people, feet on the ground, all of you guys, up and down the organization contributed tremendously, right, to get to where we are today. And as you all know, the lockdown in Manila came down super fast, right? I mean, we didn't have much time to react. It just, hit us pretty bad in Manila, almost immediately. In Manila, by how they do things, their enforcement is pretty strict, right? As those of you listening in Philippines know, right? The enforcement is pretty strict. I mean, they bring down almost like a martial law there, and clamp down pretty fast, right? So despite that, we tried to react as fast as we could, given all the limitations that we had. Literally with help from, I must say, our shareholders, investors, everybody pulled in to, offer help as much as they can with the connections that we have in Philippines. We were able to secure, dongles for connecting laptops and desktop computers. We were able to move things and whatnot, right? So a lot of things happened, and Cebu, we had a little bit of time, so we were able to plan and execute better. But the good thing is, in Manila, we are, almost about 95% work from home enabled, right? And all of Philippines put together, not just Manila, but all of Philippines put together, which is an amazing, remarkable achievement. Kudos to all of you, that made this thing happen. Um, and coming to India, again, we knew this was going to happen. We didn't know the magnitude and the scope of how badly companies like us will be affected. We had we had representation from industry bodies like NASCOM and CII and all that, who gave us a lot of information, but nevertheless, things came down pretty fast down the pike in terms of what happened in India. I'm not going to rehash, how things happened, but
Has
we had
joined.
very little notice in terms of how things sort of evolved in India. And obviously, we knew we had a big challenge there in terms of getting systems out to people's homes and whatnot. And like I said, starting from the, admin teams to IT teams, the senior management, the managers, service delivery heads, associates, everybody. I know all of you, contributed your part in terms of pitching in and helping. I know many of you have called your managers and whatnot, asking, how can I help in this situation? So really, really, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely appreciate everything that you guys have done so far. I will tell you that of special mention is our IT and our admin teams who have been there, risked everything, put literally their families on hold, their personal lives on hold, and being literally at Omega, the IT and admin teams, in terms of preparing the systems to be deployed to work from home, getting the systems out there, the logistical nightmares. I mean, it'll take me, 10 days or 100 days to describe the kind of logistical difficulties that our admin teams faced. And obviously, the coordination, a lot of that came from what we call like a BCP war room, which is all of the managers and senior executives and our executive leadership team, which provided the direction. All of you just have done a fantastic job. And Anurag will talk about the client side and where our competitors are and things like that. Just wanted to touch on a couple of few more points. I won't be long. I love talking. I haven't done this in a while, so I need to contain myself. So today we are at about close to 80% work from home from the India side, which is again a stellar achievement when you'll hear about the other numbers. We hope to get to closer to 90% by this weekend. Obviously, there's talk about extending the lockdown and whatnot, and I'm sure the central government as well as the state governments will do what's really needed in the general interest and health of the public in terms of whether the lockdown is necessary and whatnot. We it's tough for us to speculate what's right, what's wrong, and whatnot. They've got to take too many things into consideration: the health of the people, the economy, right, which is a big part of this whole thing. So a lot of variables that they need to take into account, and we think, right, from if you ask us as what do we as a leadership team of Omega think, we think the lockdown will be extended in both Philippines as well as India. And I can tell you with a good degree of assurance that we are very well prepared for that. Yes, there are some technology limitations and all that, but all of you have been very gracious and helpful in terms of working through that. We've delivered successfully. Anurag will talk about some of the client feedback that we've got. I can just tell you that from an overall sort of business standpoint, things are absolutely slowing down. It's slowing down all over the world, right? This is a new sort of world that we live in today, and the future is going to be quite different as well, right, for all of us, right? That nobody in this world is going to be exempt from that. New things are going to evolve, but as I've always said, touch wood for us, I always used to say we're in a recession proof industry, right? Now there's another this whole sort of pandemic proof industry as well, right? I shouldn't say we're completely insulated. People are going to get sick, and they have to go get medical care, and that's really what drives our business, right? That's going to continue to happen. Yeah, it's taken a little bit of a slowdown, obviously, because people can't get out of their homes and whatnot. There's a lot of the elective stuff and things like that. Medical treatments have gotten postponed. But the good news is we expect things to really pick back up, and yeah, it's going to take some time, especially when you have sudden sort of impact like this that nobody anticipated. Things are going to take a sort of a relatively slower uptick, but we're very, very confident that our company is here to stay. Our business is here to stay. Things are going to continue, but with a lot of changes. I think I heard somebody say this the other day, that crisis creates opportunities, right? Which is a very, very true statement. want you all to reflect on that, right? Just three words: crisis creates opportunities, right? For all of us, right? In terms of how we operate, how we think, and whatnot. And we are trying hard from an Omega standpoint to think about, what are the opportunities that it creates, new business models, new business opportunities, and whatnot. How do we leverage technology? So a lot of things have come into play, and we'll continue to leverage all of that. And look, I think we'll work through our technology challenges and all that. Again, kudos to all of our teams, and I said of special mention admin on our IT teams, because they do deserve a special mention of how beautifully they've executed. It's just I can't even imagine. I wish somebody would write a book on this at some point in terms of how the challenges they faced and what all they overcame, right? So with that, again, I also wanted to mention about our communications team that have done a stellar job. They've tried their level best to keep both our customers as well as our employees up to date on everything. It's not easy, given that things literally change, by the second, right, in this environment. And so they've done a very good job in terms of keeping everybody up to date. I know they send regular mailers to all of you. I see that as well every day. So please, pay attention to those. Those are very, very, very important mails that come to you, either in terms of information or things we need from you guys, right? So very important for you all to pay attention to that. Tell your teams to pay attention to that. We still need the NDAs and things like that sent back. So I urge all of you to please, again, look into every communication that comes to you and reach out, right? Please reach out if you need any help, any trouble that you have, or whatever. Reach out to your managers, right? It will get escalated and properly addressed to the degree that we can. Sometimes we get inundated, but I will assure you that your well-being is of utmost importance to us. Also, I wanted to mention about our training. We're still actively recruiting, so please, continue to refer your friends and family to join us. We're still actively recruiting in a lot of areas. Our training team has done a wonderful job of figuring out the whole remote training as well, using technology, using Jarvis, which is an amazing technology that we've developed. So we're good in terms of getting ready for growth, being able to train new resources. I know a lot of people are getting retrained in the areas where we need help, like from on the emergency medicine coding side, E&M, and all that. We're seeing tremendous demands, right? So there people are getting trained. Um, so all that is happening, remotely as well, right? So I think, by and large, our clients have been, really understanding of the situation, because, like I said earlier, this is a worldwide, a pandemic, right? That has hit almost every country possible, and unfortunately, the U.S. Has been hit the worst. Compared to all other countries. And so everybody's tense. Our clients are tense as well. But I will tell you that our client partner team, both in the U.S. as well as India, have done a tremendous job of staying in touch with the clients, keeping them informed about where things are. The first few days, obviously, there was a lot of confusion, chaos. That's to be expected, right? Everybody got kind of thrown into this with absolutely no warning. And it's an interesting thing. If you all should go back and react to, a lot of times we try to plan things in our life, and we all like our lives to be planned. We know what we're doing a month from now, 3 months from now, and whatnot. And look, 3 weeks ago, things were very different, right, for all of us. And look at things today, right? Literally, what I would say as impossible things about working from home in our healthcare industry, given all the privacy and compliance and all kinds of regulatory stipulations that we have, I would have never envisaged something like this to happen, and it's happened, right? So, which is a good thing. So, the clients are pretty appreciative of where we are, and what we've been able to do so far in terms of getting ready for them. Most of them have approved work from home. Very few of them have not, for various, business reasons and whatnot. But a good majority of them have approved work from home, and we've been, gearing up quite well in all different aspects. While we see, sort of inflow volumes going down in certain areas. It's picked up in certain areas. I will say overall that it's very tough for us to predict at this point. It's not we're asking clients every single day as to where they think their business is going to be and whatnot. And some of them are able to say, but some of them, quite frankly, a lot of them don't have a clue about exactly the inflow of work and things like that. It's too early to sort of to figure anything out, right? Because we don't know where things are stuck, and you guys know the details of how business sort of flows to us and whatnot. There's too many pockets that where the whole supply chain has been disrupted, right? The supply chain for us in terms of how work comes to us has been disrupted. So a lot of people are still figuring out things and whatnot. But I think overall, from a client standpoint, they're quite happy with what we've done. We've received many, many, many accolades from a lot of our clients in terms of how we stepped up, and were able to meet. For example, as those of that are involved in sort of this whole payment posting world, how important month-end closing is. And, I don't think I've heard one client complain about their month-end not being closed properly. Almost every client, some of our large clients, I think, you guys did a fantastic job of pulling together and making sure that, the month ends closed properly, and whatnot, right? And charts are getting out. I know that things are really picking up steam. Yeah, we do have backlogs in a lot of areas and whatnot, and I'm sure all of you, I know every single one of you. I've heard from so many managers and whatnot, our senior leadership team, that every single one of you are putting in, extended hours every day, working weekends and whatnot to meet the demands. I know all of you are working from home, have family pressures and whatnot. And, really from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you for what you've done for Omega. Again, please be safe. Dipthindu, I don't know if there's a way to enable either Ken Carr or Daphne to say a few things about clients. I think since Anurag is not back on. Ken or Daphne, are you able to talk? Ken, can you say something? Let's see if we can hear you. Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Ken.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Gopi, thank you for the outline of what's been happening both in India and the United States. Wanted to thank everyone in India and the Philippines for your superb work. Our clients here in the U.S., as Gopi mentioned, are very nervous, very anxious about their business, but each passing day with your hard work, they're becoming more and more comfortable with the new normal. And on conversations with customers in the last couple of days, I've noted that they've been very supportive. We were on with their leader, basically wanted to make sure all of our people were healthy and happy. Very appreciative of how we're up and running on work from home, and they really believe that we're the right partner for them in the long term. So it's a great opportunity for us to shine, and everyone has been doing so as well. And I would just encourage everyone to stay focused on your customers, stay focused on, and let's beat this thing.
So the way we're going to handle the Q&A is, I know we'd asked a lot of you to submit questions. Obviously, we got a lot of questions that people asked about. We tried to sort of sift through that and shortlist some of the questions. So I'm just going to read out the question and who posed that question and try and answer it as best as I can. I think Dipthendu, maybe if you can enable Guru as well, if he wants to jump in for some of the answers, he can, right? From an HR standpoint. Okay. So the first question is from Logesh Sundaran. It says, as we all know, that to bring this work from home from 0 to 100 is not an easy task. As a CEO, what was the biggest challenge you came across during all of this? Great question. I wish I wish there was a way to say there was one big challenge and all that. I think it's the biggest challenge was to me sort of the suddenness of how things happened, and we had talked about it, we had thought about it, but our execution was a little bit sort of lagging behind, right? To be perfectly honest, and so we faced a lot of challenges in terms of planning how we're going to get these desktops and laptops and all that and other dongles and all the other stuff to people's homes, and just planning that, coordinating that was probably the biggest challenge, and again, could not have accomplished with the wonderful team that literally, I mean, they came together so beautifully in completely unimaginable ways. People getting stopped everywhere and still, trying to get to the office and coordinate and whatnot. So that I would say was the biggest challenge, I'd say, that I had to overcome, sitting 10,000 miles away and sometimes feeling helpless because I'm not there. It was really hard, right, for me personally to deal with. The second question is from, actually there are three questions in this thing. It's related to job security, which I'm sure is paramount and on top of all of your minds, brains, and whatnot. So the question is, I'll read out the three questions and kind of give an answer. The first one's from Praveen John. Will the current situation affect the job security offered by Omega? And then Basharat Sultan, what would be the strategy for clients who have not approved work from home? And then the third one is, what are the plans as an organization have in place to engage our employees if there is a significant dip in volume of work received, or if there is a huge surge in the volume of work received when we come out of this COVID-19 pandemic? That's from Anand Raj RP. So first question, will the current situation affect the job security? I'd love to say with definitive, heart and mind that it shouldn't affect. We're still, like I said, there's too many unknowns in throughout the world, right? It's not just pertaining to us. Too many unknowns in terms of so many different things in so many different countries and whatnot. We are doing our level best. I can assure you, right? Your job security, your health, your family is extremely important to us. We're doing everything we can to see how we can, protect everybody's jobs, and that sort of dovetails into the second question about the work, what happens to clients that have not approved work from home. We are in discussions with them. Surprisingly, a lot of them maybe thought that this thing was going to go away pretty fast, and then everybody would be back to work. A lot of them have very reluctantly sort of agreed to approve work from home. Possible is to retrain them and reutilize them in places where we have a lot of backlogs and where we see a surge and things like that. That is absolutely the strategy. I can tell you, your business unit heads, along with the WFM team and HR team, is working feverishly to figure out how do we redeploy these and retrain, right, these people whose clients have not approved work from home. And it sort of answers the third question as well, in terms of the dip in volume. We again, at this point, steady state is not being achieved yet, and I'm afraid that probably for another, from what indications that we've received, it's probably going to be another 2 to 3 weeks before we know what steady state means, even, right? Because we are dealing currently with heavy backlogs in a lot of areas, and heavy surge in a lot of areas. For example, we know that our radiology coding and some of the office-based work that we do has gone down a little bit in terms of volumes. But I think overall, we see a surge in E&M, emergency medicine work, coding, and things like that. A tremendous surge. But I can tell you that once this lockdowns sort of slow down in all the various countries, things will absolutely pick up. Okay, again, we are connected to some of the large financial institutions in the world. I think we'll see a good surge picking up in the second half of the year. Okay, so the third question was appraisal related questions. How does this COVID-19 situation affect the 2019-20 appraisal cycle? This is a month of appraisal, obviously. What is our take on it? This is from Omkar Thatavarti. And then the second one is obviously we're a little worried about our appraisal process. Appraisal review hasn't started yet. Can you explain? I think we've uploaded on Lifeline as well in terms of our position there, because right now, like I said, your health is very paramount to us, your safety and whatnot. We're focused on that. We're trying to figure out. We're literally at the tail end of our work from home implementation and whatnot. So that's obviously taken our focus away from appraisals and whatnot. And our official position is that we've delayed it by a quarter, right? We will pick this back up in the July timeframe and hope to complete it as fast as possible, right? So that's the position that we've taken. Again, do not be afraid. Don't worry about it. Again, it's just a delay that a lot of companies are doing as well, given the enormity of the rest of the stuff. We have to protect our basic business, right? Which is what keeps all of us employed and whatnot. And that's really what we're trying to do, right? Rest assured, the appraisal cycle will happen, in the July timeframe. All right. So, by the way, that question was also from Arun Selvaraj. Fourth question: how are we as Omegans going to contribute to the society, our government during this pandemic? Great question from Logesh Sundaran. Great question. Again, shows what you guys are built of, thinking about others and the society, which is very, very heartening for me to read this. We're doing our best, right? Again, there's tremendous amount of limitations in terms of what we can do, go out and do physically, right, to help people. Even the other day, I got a notification from somebody through one of my contacts that this this charity organization in Bangalore is looking for volunteers to come and help pack ration kits and whatnot. And I sent it to our HR and communications team. Unfortunately, there were limitations in terms of the kind of people they could take, because within just a 2 kilometer radius and whatnot. So and we do that. And then there's also another trust in Chennai called Bhumika Trust, who have done a tremendous job of helping all the migrant workers, keeping them fed and sheltered and clothed and whatnot. So we're working with them as well, right? So try to do the best we can as an organization. As you know, as most of you know, we're very, very committed to a lot of community service related work, and we take that very seriously. So rest assured that we're doing everything we can, where people reach out to us to go out and help, right? So, but if you do have suggestions, any of you have suggestions, please contact your manager, HR, and suggest, how else we can help, right? So that'll be very helpful. All right, so the next question was around, are we planning working on developing applications internally that will enhance employee engagement and productivity for employees who are working from home? So this is from Anandaraj RP, and the answer is yes. We are looking at different types of technologies right now to see what will work best in terms of our ability to be able to help all of you be more productive, monitor what we're doing, how we can intervene and help and guide you and whatnot. So rest assured that we will absolutely be rolling out some of these technologies very shortly. Okay. And then the next one is, how long will this work from home be continued? It's too boring, sir. Tell me about it. It's pretty boring. Please withdraw this as soon as possible once lockdown gets off. Ashish Pandey. Great question. I wish I had the powers that I could, wave a magic wand and say, it's done. But as all of you know, that it's easier said than done. It's going to, unfortunately, I think it's going to continue. The key is the well-being of people. Like I said earlier, I think both India and Philippines have done a tremendous job in terms of getting prepared, learning from other countries and whatnot, and implementing it fairly fast. Question: none of us would have imagined the current BCP situation. Do you think in the future it's better to replace desktops with laptops? Logistically, it'll be easy to manage space and transportation during BCP situation. Came from Basharat Sultan again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that is the best thing, but suffice to say that we do have about 2,200 plus laptops today that we will absolutely be using. We purchased those laptops. We will be using, but as I think a lot of you know. Some of the work that we do, especially coding and things like that, laptops are probably not the best sort of from an infrastructure standpoint and an efficiency standpoint, productivity standpoint. Laptops are probably not best suited for certain types of work, but certainly where we can, we will certainly look into that. Right? Again, it's one thing. Yes, laptops from a transport perspective is easier and whatnot. But if you have to work on laptops day in and day out, and the kind of intensity that all of you work in, sitting there staring at a screen for sometimes 4 hours, 8 hours, at a time, it's not very easy to look at a small screen like that, right? So we'll good point taken. We will definitely try and see where it makes sense. We will absolutely do that. So the next question was around questions on market impact. What would be the impact of current situation on healthcare industry? Do we expect any recession? Basharat Sultan. Wow, he's given a lot of thought. I give you that, Basharat. uh, um, I think, like I said, there's going to be sort of a temporary dip in terms of the volume of work and all that. That's only because, a lot of the elective procedures, visits to like the ophthalmologist, or going and getting an X-ray done just because you feel some pain somewhere, things like that have stopped, quite a bit. So yeah, there will be an impact, needless to say. And it's interesting, doctors generally are so busy all the time. It's tough to get appointments and whatnot, and a lot of them don't have much work today, right? It's crazy how the situation has changed. Um, I'm not an economist to say that whether we're going to get into a recession, depression. There's enough think tanks and really smart people, way smarter than me, in economics and whatnot, that have predicted certain things and whatnot. I think a lot of things, quite frankly, are up in the air. There will be a slowdown, whether you call that recession, depression, and whatnot. This remains to be seen, right? How well countries can recover. Look, where we are today, everybody talks about the Great Depression and in the 1930s or whatever, right? Look, that was like 90 years back, right? Things were a lot different. Today, the entire whatever 7 billion population in the world is armed with all kinds of technology and information and whatnot. I think we'll come out of it faster, whatever it is that we get into from an economic standpoint. We hopefully will come out of it a lot faster and smarter, right, than what happened 90 years back. That's what I think is going to happen. So next question is, COVID-19 is unforeseen, unwanted situation in the world. Great, yeah, agreed. People have stopped spending, and fear lurks in every corner of the world. Omega is into healthcare business, though there may be fewer footfalls in hospitals right now, which is true. But once situation turns normal, definitely it will, as happened in the industry, footfalls in hospitals will grow. Um, this looks like threat converted to opportunity. Please provide your insight on this. Sagar Natarajan. Great question. Anurag, are you back? Guess not. Great question. Like I said, crisis creates opportunities, and you know, um, we're looking at every possible angle to see how we can leverage the situation. I will tell you that the feedback that we've got from our clients has been fantastic. Like Ken said, it's been really positive so far in terms of how well we've reacted and scaled up, despite our slow and late start. We've reacted quite well. I can tell you that most of our competitors are struggling in terms of being able to deploy work from home beyond like 55, 60% mark. They've struggled to deploy beyond that. And like I said, we are currently at about 80% and hoping to get to 90% in the next, 3, 4 days or so, right? So from that perspective, I think we're geared up for all the opportunities that are going to present themselves, and absolutely we will leverage it. A lot of our clients have come to us and asked us for more headcount. We're doing everything we can to either retrain or go to the market and find people and whatnot. So yeah, I think a lot of, in the middle of all this crisis, I agree with you. There's tremendous opportunity that we'll leverage. Okay, given the situation, are we getting new clients? Um, um, Great question by Rajesh Reddy. Yes, we are talking to a whole lot of new clients. Continue to talk to a whole bunch of new clients. Obviously, things have slowed down. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. Decision making in terms of outsourcing anybody's business is not probably at the top of anybody's mind right now. But things have definitely slowed down. But like I said, it's a slowdown in the entire world, right, in all of our lives. And so, it will definitely pick back up. Our pipeline continues to be strong. We're making tremendous amount of calls. Again, our sales guys, even though they're not able to physically go and visit new prospects and whatnot, they've been talking to them on the phone, keeping them engaged. We're still, submitting a lot of proposals. We still have our weekly business review calls every Wednesday to review new opportunities in business. So yeah, that's definitely moving along for sure. Okay, so then I know we're a little bit over time, but we started 5 minutes late, so I'll take the extra 3 minutes now. We're seeing volumes come down. Will we get extra work from clients to make up for the loss? Aditi Natarajan. Again, we've hashed this point quite a bit, but yes, volumes are down in a lot of areas. We hope to get extra work from clients. Many of our clients have come to us and asked, "Hey, can you take on, this extra work because my current supplier is not able to handle this work, right? Can you guys take on a million more charts and things like that?" These are real things that have happened to us, and we are absolutely gearing up to handle any new business extra work and whatnot that we get, right? So rest assured, we're not going to pass up on any opportunities. I can tell you we have the best management team, the best leadership team across the company, US, India, and Philippines put together. And I can tell you all of them are geared to ensure that we utilized every single one of you properly, right, in terms of being able to handle more work, getting retrained, and whatnot. Okay, so down to the last question. Given there's so much network issues, which the clients are aware of, are they still expecting the same level of productivity? From Harish Menon. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think a lot of our clients are very understanding of what has happened and the new sort of paradigm of how this work from home has worked out and whatnot. I think right now there is a level of sort of I would call it a tolerance and understanding from our clients in terms of reduced productivity and whatnot. I don't know how long that'll last. Clients are clients at the end of the day. The sympathy factor will wean off at some point, I think, and they will expect us to pick up productivity and make sure that we don't get into too many backlog situations. Look, there will be understanding, but at the same point, they've got pressure from their clients and whatnot to get the work done. So I think we're fairly good from a productivity standpoint to date, right? So that's the good news. Is that yeah, there may be pockets where we need to make tremendous improvements and whatnot, which will happen over time, right? So we're absolutely brand new, literally 2 weeks old, and maybe a week old in some ways in this work from home thing, and so I'm very confident that the productivity will pick up. That's what we've heard from other industries as well. Other meaning non-healthcare industries, BPO companies, that the productivity has been improving steadily. So we're seeing the same thing pretty much. Okay, last question was since US is also going through a tough time, what is their expectation from us? I think first and foremost, I will say that the safety of every single one of you is paramount is at the top of the heads of our clients. They've always asked about that. They've been very, very understanding, very sympathetic towards what's going on. Everybody's obviously, worried, just like me. You have 1.3 billion people in India, and so I'm sorry, I forget the population of Philippines, but a lot of people, millions of people, the density, right, of the people, right, given all that. Again, it's a miracle. It's a great miracle that India's got only about 6,000 or 7,000 cases or whatever the latest number is. But my sincere request to all of you is again, stay safe, stay at home as much as possible. I know you have to get out for getting essential things and whatnot. but take care of your families. We've come a very, very long way in just literally 3 weeks, right? We've come a tremendous, we made great advancements in everything that we do. We worked as a team very well together. My ask is, again, let's all, stick together, focus on the task on hand. Got a big backlog situation. Let's focus on that. Let's you know try and do as best as we can to please our clients. Again, keep your feedback coming, right? You do have, outward communications channels through your reporting managers, HR, Lifeline, and whatnot. Continue to ask questions. That's the best way we can sort of keep in touch. We value everything that you guys do for us. Be very, very cautious. Listen to what the health authorities and whatnot say, and be sure to stay safe and healthy. All right. Diptendu, are there any more questions you want me to answer? I know we're a little bit over time.
Yeah, I think we're good, Gopi. We've covered a lot of questions. Few of them
I apologize.
we will respond through our other channels in Lifeline and WhatsApp and all those as well. So if there are more questions that remain unanswered, we will use those channels, Gopi, and we'll get back